Hi, I'm going to work on this electroluminescent display, and I want to show you how to do that. So I have a 2 by 1 7/8 inch document open, and I have here a photograph, which is a little unusual because electroluminescent displays don't really typically do halftones. But I have it open because I'm going to do a real quick conversion, and so this is just a photo I'm going to live trace, and I'm going to basically posterize it by setting it on the black and white mode and ignoring white. And then in my situation, I'm going to go ahead and do the threshold a lot lower. You need a pretty high contrast image to do this well, but it's doable. So go ahead and trace this thing, and we'll then pick it up once this thing is done. Now, once I've traced it, what I want to do is go ahead and expand it so I can actually work with it in some fashion. So I'm going to hit the expand button, and here I have an editable posterization, or a black and white, 100% black and white solid image. I'm going to go ahead and grab my eraser tool, and I'm just going to do some quick little cleanup here. I hope you don't mind being slightly patient, because of course I want this thing to look as good as it can look. So I'll just do a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, just a spot or two there. Beautiful thing about a posterization is it is a little bit organic anyway, so I can be a little bit sloppy with this, but I just want to clean up some of this garbage out here so it is a little better defined. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. So I'm going to now go ahead and color this thing so that it's cyan, and that's going to represent our phosphor layer. So there is going to be what actually illuminates. So I've got that layer done. What I'm going to go ahead and do is create a new layer, and this layer is going to be my silver layer. And what I'm going to do with this silver layer is I'm going to go ahead and select this. I'm going to come up to Object, Path, and I'm going to offset the path by a 1/16 of an inch. You want to make sure your joins are round. Go ahead and do that, and what that should do is, it's going to take a moment, but it should, after it's doing a little thinking, it should come back with basically another object that's a little bit, well, 1/16 of an inch larger, but we're going to join all those discrete paths and make it a little cleaner as well. Thanks for your patience. This thing is taking a moment, as one would think it would. But after this layer, it should go much faster because, like I said, I'll clean it up a little bit, so it won't be quite so elaborate. Come on, come on. There we go. It's done. All right, so you see all these paths are all 1/16 inch bigger. I'm going to get my Pathfinder tool out and unite that so it's just one clean little object, and then I'll go ahead and color that with my silver color. I'm going to cut it though, make sure I paste it in front on this silver layer. Now, one thing I see I want to clean up, I don't like to have these little random things in there, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this little bad boy right there and see if I can clean that up. Sometimes it's difficult to select objects like this, but I'm going to give it a shot. There we go. So that now represents my silver layer. I'm going to go ahead and create another new layer. This will be my dielectric. And we'll basically do the same thing here. Object, path, offset path. We'll go another 1/16 of an inch round. Color that with our dielectric color. And finally, I will do the P dot, the transparent conductor. But I'm going to need this one quite a bit bigger, so let me go back to the silver layer, and let's do our next portion with the bus bar on the silver. So if I go to Object, and this time I'm going to go ahead and offset the path, make it a 1/16 inch bigger. But actually this time, let me think about this. I don't want to go 1/16 inch bigger. I probably want to go, I'll go ahead and do an 1/8 inch bigger. And this time I will go ahead and make my fill none, but make my stroke the silver and make it 1/16 of an inch. It's not a 1/16 of a point, but a 1/16 of an inch. There we go. Now I could make this a little bit smaller, or I could even come in here and go to my stroke panel and move it to the inside. Let's see what that does if I make it so that the line of the stroke to the inside. It's going to butt it up there. But if I made this stroke a tiny bit smaller, I could probably pull this off. What if I made the stroke, instead of 4 points, what if I made it, or 4.5 points, what if I made it 4 points? It's probably not going to be a big deal because that dielectric layer, all it's going to do is isolate it. So for that matter, I could leave it at 4.5 points. It really would not make an ounce of difference because it can butt right up against that. So that should be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this path, and I'm going to, in this situation, go ahead and outline that stroke so it's its own independent path, and I'll come back and play with that just a little bit. So I think I'm ready now, get out of isolation mode. I think I'm ready to go ahead and do my P dot layer, and then I'll come back to this. So I'll now go back to my dielectric, and I'll go ahead and go to path, offset path, and this time I need to do the full 1/8 of an inch. Yep, and I'm going to make that one black. And that should, I'm going to cut that out of there, go to my P dot layer, and paste in front on my P dot layer. Now it looks like my dielectric never got on the right layer, so I'll cut that out, go to my dielectric and paste in front. There we go. So now I can see all of those working properly on there. Now, I need to make sure I've got these set to overprint, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and finish up my bus bar and whatnot. So I'm going to come down here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create down here a little spot. I could really do it in either spot, but I'm going to work down here by this foot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my little saw tool, which is same place as the eraser tool. I guess it's a knife, not a saw. Make sure I'm on the right layer. What I'm going to do is just blast a little hole by sawing right there and sawing right there. And then if I get my direct selection tool, I should be able to come in here and get rid of that. So now I will have the ability to create a bus bar down here and a bus bar out of my, or I mean a terminal out of my center silver area. So I'm just going to get this little thing down here, come down about like yay. I'll do another one. I can do it on this side or that side. I think I'll do mine on this side simply because I don't know, it just feels a little more centered, if you will. Okay, and while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and take this thing and I'll copy it, paste in front of my dielectric layer. Oh, forgot it was locked. I can unlock that. Paste in front of my dielectric layer, color it magenta, and I'm going to make it a little bit wider. But then a little bit shorter. Yeah, around there looks good. And I can merge these two together by using this little join tool on Pathfinder. So that's now joined together, and that's just fine. Except for it's on the wrong layer. That's because I was on the wrong layer when I did it. So paste in front, now it's on the right layer. And I can take this, and I can join those. And this, and I can join those. And I could create a little pad down here if I wanted to. Any of that would be fine. So this now appears that it's ready to go. You know, I think I'm going to do one little thing. Just because this P dot is conductive and the silver is conductive, and we definitely want those well isolated, I think I'll go ahead just real quickly and make these, just give myself a little bit more buffer. I'm going to go ahead and create, let's see here, actually I'm going to do this a little cleaner than that. what I'm going to do is do that, and then give myself just a little bit more room. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, give this a little bit more room. I don't want to risk having this short out in any way. Okay, so I think my bus bar connecting with P-dot, got well isolated with the dielectric. So the last thing I want to do here, if I go to overprint preview, what I'm looking for is these to stack on top of each other. So what I'm going to do is just do a select all. Let's get everything unlocked here. Do a select all and just overprint fill, so that everything is printing right on top of everything else and nothing is getting blasted out. So that looks pretty good there. I know it doesn't look good, but that's in fact the effect that we're looking for. So that looks like it's ready to go, and I think that will make a nice EL. I want to make sure that when I save it, that I save it to, using somewhere in my name, or somewhere in the file name, make sure that I have in fact my Cal Poly username. So I'll probably call it something like in the effect of, let's see, I'd probably call this something like 451 EL mkeith, something along those lines, and leave it as an AI file, and we should be good to go. All right, have a nice evening.